Is there anything better than the Harbowl? Two brothers going at it on Monday Night Football, and I have two picks that I think is going to make it even more enjoyable than it already is. We're going to talk about my favorite player prop in this game, as well as the total for the Ravens versus the Chargers. I'm recording this before our Sunday Night Football pick, and I hope it cashes to give us around an even day. But overall, today has been so disappointing. Panthers plus 11, that hit, which is good. CJ Stroud over 8.5 rushing yards. That hit, which was great. But the freaking play of the month, Colts plus 7.5, losing by that much, right? I don't think the score is indicative of what really happened, but regardless, we have less money in our account than we did, and that's all that matters. And the freaking Raiders took them plus 6. They're down 10. They get down to the 1-yard line with 19 seconds left. And instead of just QB sneaking it in, they decide to pass twice. Don't get the backdoor cover. That was just gut-wrenching. But sometimes you got to dust off the losses, right? Doesn't matter if they were close, if they weren't. A loss is a loss. A win is a win. And I plan on winning these two picks on Monday Night Football to completely make up for it. Luckily, we're still green on the year, and I really appreciate all the support from our last video. So if you've cashed any of the winners with us so far, make sure to hit that like button and make sure to subscribe for more future picks down the line, and let me know in the comment section what you're on for Ravens versus Chargers. I'll be sure to answer all the comments just like I always do. And a reminder that this channel is sponsored by BetMGM, the king of sportsbooks. It's the perfect time to use promo code JustGridiron for a first bet offer up to $1,500. Deposit at least $10. That's it. And if you lose your first wager on BetMGM after using code JustGridiron, you'll get it all back up to $1,500 in bonus bets. However, gambling problem, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER. Must be 21 years or older. Terms and conditions apply. When the books are giving you freebies, don't be lazy. Make sure to take advantage of this first bet offer on BetMGM. So we'll talk about the total first, and then we'll get to my player prop. So the look-ahead line on the total was 47. But after a wild game between the Bengals and the Chargers, the line was heavily bet up all the way to 51. I can see why the number moved. The Chargers defense, right, taking a step up in class because their schedule's been pretty easy. Facing Cincinnati, and they got kind of torched. But I think it moved too much, and now it's time to come back in on the other side. Justin Herbert has been getting a ton of love lately, and rightfully so, by me. Right over his last 5 games, threw for 7 touchdowns, 0 picks. But when we look at numbers like EPA per play, EPA plus completion percentage over expectation, 14th out of 24 qualified quarterbacks in that span where he threw 7 touchdowns and no interceptions. The Chargers' ability to create these short yardage situations on third down due to the run game routinely moving the chains for LA. But the way that the Baltimore defense is trending, I don't see it being as easy as it's been over the previous weeks for this offense. Like I said, Ravens defense is getting kind of good. Since week 6, they rank 15th in EPA per play and have excelled in stopping the run all year, ranking 5th in rush EPA during that span. Chargers under Jim Harbaugh definitely want to establish the run, but I think their ability to do so is going to be limited in this matchup. And that's the key here, because against great run defenses this year, the Chargers offense has taken a big step down. The Chiefs run defense ranks 3rd. Chargers only put up 10. Broncos run defense ranks 7th. Chargers put up 23. Steelers ranked 12th. Chargers only put up 20 points. They did put up 27 against the Titans, who rank 8th in rushing EPA per play, but they only put up 300 total yards in that game. If the Ravens can hold their own against the run, just like they've been doing all season long, the Chargers' point total, I think, is going to be in the low to mid-20s, in that 21 to 24 point range. And then on the flip side, we have a matchup of the Chargers' 4th best defense by EPA against the Ravens' number 1 offense. Chargers have been fantastic against the run, ranking 4th in rushing EPA per play. And right, if they can slow down Derrick Henry, right, with a total of 51, if they could just slow it down a little bit, it'll be on Lamar to put points up through the air. And now the Chargers pass defense really has been great, right? They rank 2nd in success rate and 5th in dropback EPA per play. And that's after they just got torched by Joe Burrow. But most of that, if you're watching that game, it was when they were trailing, right? The Bengals made that big time comeback. And it's just a better passing attack than what Baltimore has, especially when T. Higgins and Jamar Chase are on the field. Especially after that defense getting kind of beat up on primetime, I think that the Chargers have a bounce back game against this Ravens offense, kind of, right? We're not talking about them limiting them to 10 to 14 points. But can they keep in the Ravens in the mid to high 20s, anywhere from 24 to 27 points? I think they can. And this is a game where I think the teams are going to get their yards, but I don't know if the touchdowns exactly are going to be there. And that's what you have to get over a total this high. The Chargers have the second best defense in the NFL in the red zone when it comes to limiting touchdowns. Ravens rank 13th. Two teams who level up in the red zone should limit a touchdown barrage. And that's what we need to get over 51 points. And this also hits that home dog primetime under trend, which is 163, hitting at a 62.5% rate. With totals this high on primetime, the under actually hits more often than it doesn't. Since 2019, when the total is 50 or higher on primetime, the under is 42-23, a 65% hit rate. I make the line on this game 49, so I agree with the move up from the look ahead, but a 4-point adjustment is just a little bit too much. My model on Rithmm likes the under even more than I do. It's their favorite total of all of week 12, giving us a 58.3% chance of hitting this, making the total a point lower than my rough numbers. They got it down at 48. And now I highly recommend downloading Rithmm. You can find the link in the description of this video to access your 7-day free trial. You can build your own AI-backed model or use their back-tested model. They got tons of props, tons of game predictions, moneyline, total spread, and they also do other sports if you're looking for more NBA, college football, or college basketball. Check out that link. Start your 7-day free trial in the description of this video. So all in all, give me the under 51 to win 1 unit on Monday Night Football between the Ravens and the Chargers. Now, we also have a player prop that I really want to talk about. My model on Rithmm is screaming at us to take it. And if we look at the trends and really the matchup, it looks like the right side. But it's scary because Justin Herbert has been over this line in 3 of his last 4 games. Funny enough, I was watching NFL Live earlier this week, and one of the hosts called him a dual threat quarterback, right? Herbert has been, I don't know if he's a dual threat quarterback, but what he has been doing is taking advantage of these big holes against defenses that are just flat out bad, right? It doesn't surprise me that he went over the Saints, who can't cover at all. The Titans, which we bet CJ Stroud over rushing yards against and a cash with ease. And the Bengals, who have allowed the most rushing yards to quarterbacks all season long. None of those teams are covering running quarterbacks, so I'm not shocked that he went over against all of those. But the Ravens, they deal with Lamar Jackson in practice. They're elite at stopping the quarterback from running the football. They're 6th in the entire NFL in rushing yards allowed to quarterbacks and are top 5 in yards per carry from quarterbacks as well. So, while Justin Herbert has been taking advantage of easy matchups lately, when he's up against good rushing defenses like the Ravens have, the rushing yards just aren't there. Over his last 8 games against top 10 rushing defenses, he's averaging just 10 yards per game and has been under 21.5 rushing yards in 7 of those 8 games. Now, he has gone over 21.5 in 3 of his last 4 games, but overall this season, those are the only 3 times he's gone over this. He's under in 7 of his 10 games that he's played this year. He was dealing with an ankle injury earlier in the year, right? But if we look at last year, he was under 21.5 yards in 10 of his 13 games that he played in. In this matchup, the line should just not be 3 yards higher than his average this season. This is a matchup against an elite run defense, both against running backs and against quarterbacks, and I think it's due to his running ability lately. That's why I think that this is a little bit inflated, and of course, it's on prime time as well. I think we should just fade recency bias here, and my model on Rithmm agrees, like I said at the beginning, giving us a 68.2% chance of staying under 19.5 rushing yards, which is the lowest number in the market, projecting him to finish with 14.4 rushing yards, which is a shade under what he averaged in all of 2023. So give me Justin Herbert under 21.5 rushing yards at minus 115 to win 1 unit. Now, we're coming off some crushing losses on Sunday, but let's turn the page and go 2-0 on Monday Night Football between the Ravens and the Chargers. Why not us?